Friendship conquers all. That's always sort of been like the thing in the Naruto series, and the fact that despite the fact that many of the characters seem like they're incredibly different from one another, they end up having a lot in common. Case in point, Boruto and Tento. It pretty much plays out exactly the way that you would expect. There's a little bit of friction at the beginning with Boruto not liking to hang out with this incredibly spoiled brat when he finally finds something that they can relate to, and it just so happens to be daddy issues. That and the fact that they're both extreme fans of this super popular ninja card game, and it also helps that Tento has a massive collection because of his incredibly large wallet, more importantly, his Giza Black card. That's right, his dad gave him this credit card which allows him to pretty much buy anything he wants. And despite the fact that he can have anything in a moment's notice, he doesn't seem to really truly appreciate anything. And that's sort of the lesson in this week's chapter, where Boruto teaches Tento that if you really want something, you have to work hard at it. And that's where he decides to teach Tento the mystical arts of ninjutsu. More importantly, how to throw shuriken at wood. That's not to say that we don't get to see some other classic ninja techniques. Of course, we get to see the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu as well as the Sexy Jutsu, all used by Boruto, and both used to extreme comedic effect, basically just to show that it's almost impossible to impress Tento. He sees the clones, but he's just reminded that Naruto can make 1,000 of them, unlike Boruto. He sees the Sexy Jutsu, and he realizes that his house is filled with these bombastic bitches all the time! None of this stuff is going to impress him, and honestly, the Sexy Jutsu shouldn't impress anyone. I don't care how much Boruto or Naruto transforms into a woman, they still got dangly parts. And I'm talking about the kind in the crotch region. Basically, this whole chapter can be summarized in the phrase, "We're not so different, you and I." And honestly, it was okay at best. Really, I think the most interesting thing about this chapter is the very ending, where after a couple of hours spending with Boruto and learning how to throw some shuriken and actually managing to get a bullseye, Tento decides to leave and they get ready to go back with his father, when we get to learn that they're actually being targeted by the Mujina bandits and their leader Shijoji, who of course was teased to have the ability to transform into anyone. And shock and behold, Shijoji apparently is the butler. Dun dun dun! So what's the rundown on this month's chapter of Boruto Naruto Next Generations? Meh? That's just sort of my opinion on this chapter right here. I just don't have that much more to say about it. The biggest comparison that I can actually get from this chapter is that it sort of reminds me of the early relationship between Naruto and Konohamaru. The only main differences being that Konohamaru was already something of a somewhat competent ninja. He hadn't really mastered any crazy abilities at the beginning of the series, but he already had a firm interest in it and was willing to go the extra mile in order to become a great ninja. And of course, he came from royalty and he wanted to go beyond that and be recognized by people, just like Tento, who wants to be recognized by his father, who's completely obsessed with ninja, and that's why he wants to go that route. This gives Boruto the excuse to buddy up to him and let him know about all of his daddy issues, blah 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 blah. It just comes across as a little stock. That's just really the only feelings I have about this chapter. It's not terrible by any stretch of the means, I just really didn't find it all that engaging. That's just my personal opinion. If you like this chapter, good for you. It's just not really one for me. I can't wait to see where the story is heading, however, especially with the Mujina ninjas and the character of Shijoji, who has the power to transform into people, which in retrospect really isn't all that special for the Naruto series, considering that there is the ability to transform into other people anyway. The only real thing that's really interesting about this guy is that when he transforms into them, he can utilize all of their unique abilities. He essentially becomes them in just about every sense. He just has to have been able to see them. I'm not sure if the requirement is that he has to kill them, but still, it is a pretty terrifying ability, and I can't wait to see what their plan is. Hopefully it's not just straight up world domination, or we're gonna take over the land of fire, or some shit. Hopefully it leads to something a little more interesting. What I will say is, this was just a meh chapter for me. It's just my opinion. Like I said, yours is probably going to differ. You might even have not liked the chapter that much at all, but I can honestly say that this was an average chapter of Boruto, which I really hope turns into something a little more interesting in the future. So I'm going to give this one right here a 3 out of 5. It was just average in my opinion. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. I can't be a Boruto tard and say that every single chapter is amazing. I do have my own opinion, and I'm not a sheep. However, importantly, I would love to hear from you guys. Make sure to tell me what you thought about this week's chapter of Boruto in the comments section below. I thought this one was average at best, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are you enjoying this story and the development that we're getting from Boruto and his brand new ninja card-loving friend Tento? Where do you think this story is actually going to be headed? What's the deal with Shijoji? What is his ultimate plan, and what do you hope to see from this new arc of Boruto Naruto Next Generations? Please tell me in the comments section. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things Boruto related, whether that be the manga series or even the brand new anime series, which honestly I think is pretty stellar so far. Make sure to check out those reviews and episodes. Make sure to leave me a comment telling me what you thought about this week's manga chapter. I'd love to talk with you guys about it. I didn't like it, but I'd love to hear your opinions. And of course, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.